Hey, what's up everybody, Zuko here, and welcome to the March episode of the Preorder Roundup, the show where I pretty much just go over and talk about the newest figures that have recently went up for purchase with you guys. It's a pretty interesting month this time around though. While we have plenty of normal things to talk about, Good Smile has put up a handful of really expensive figures this time around. Not something they haven't done before, but I don't think we've ever had a month with this many high-priced figures, and one of them might be the most expensive figure they've ever released, though I'd have to fact-check that. But before we get into the expensive stuff, let's talk about things you might actually be able to afford, starting off with one I didn't really care about at all during its prototype phase, but have completely flipped my opinion on. Good Smile Company's new Holo figure. This one's just really cute, like her face is actually perfect for once. And the outfit too, specifically the green shoal, looks so good against her hair. The colors on this figure are just perfect to me. Like all those fruit give this figure a unique pop of color you don't normally see on figures. Also, I'm gonna go there real quick, but shoutouts to the sculptor for their work on the feet. You don't have to be into feet to see they clearly were a focus on this figure. Your work has not gone unnoticed. I just love this one, but I do wish the falling apple didn't have a support beam in her dress though. It's not a deal breaker, but would have preferred they forego that detail entirely if they couldn't incorporate it better into the figure. Also, I gotta bring it up, but the price on this one is definitely a bit too high, but that could be the feet tax, I don't know. On the other hand, I feel the exact opposite about Chizuru here, where I really liked her prototype, but only think the painted sample is okay, which I didn't think I'd be saying because her sculpt is still really great, right? But for me, it's the colors. I'm just not really blown away by them. It could have something to do with the pattern of the dress, it just doesn't stand out much for me. Same goes for the pocketbook as well. There's just no details or shading outside of the bow to be found on it really. They nailed her face and her legs still look really nice, so I can still appreciate parts of this figure at the very least. I have a feeling I'm going to be the minority on this one, but for about $200, I was expecting a bit more. But hey, once again, and I front-loaded this on purpose, it could be the feet tax, which, you know, I guess you get what you pay for. Next up is Utaha from Saikano. Last time we saw her, we only had pictures of her against a sunset, which made it a bit hard to see her colors. But you know, now that we have these new pictures, I'm liking her a lot more. The gradient on her hair caught my eye immediately when I opened this page. I really like those shades of purple. Yeah, this one looks a lot cuter to me now. It ain't complex, but I think the outfit itself does a bit of the lifting here. Just an overall pleasant figure to look at with good shading on the dress and the right amount of clothes sculpting for a reasonable price as well. Takagi-san One Piece dress version is up next. Someone at Fat Company must really like her because I think this is their third figure. Yeah, this one's alright. It's a fairly simple figure in all regards, but the price reflects that, so she is on the cheaper side. The colors on the dress don't really grab my attention, unfortunately, and the grass base, I don't think it looks too great. The shade of green is kind of barfy, and it's supposed to be simulating wind blowing, but at this harsh of a degree, it sort of looks like it got flattened by some kind of animal. I don't think it was the best decision to show images of her with more realistic grass at a photo shoot, though. Now it just makes the grass base look even worse to me. Okay, let's talk about the bunny figures of the month real quick. I believe there are 5 of them to go over. First up is Diane from 7 Deadly Sins, probably my favorite bunny of the month. If any figure was going to get the 1/4 scale treatment, it should be Diane. And while I would have preferred a normal figure of her, the bunny looks solid. They nailed her face and didn't deviate too far from her original outfit to make this work. One thing about this figure is that they actually added her tattoo on her thigh since the last time we saw her, so that's great that they acknowledged that it was missing and fixed it. Also, I just love her shoes, just a really cute design and a nice departure from the high heels we typically see. Next up is Kaede from Danganronpa V3. Yeah, this one's not really appealing to me, just not a fan of her colors. I get that this series isn't known for its bright visuals, but the shade of yellow they decided on her hair just looks terrible to me and doesn't complement the pink outfit. Also, those shoes are maybe the worst color I've seen on a bunny. I'm not sure what they were thinking there. Washington from Azure Lane is up next. This one stood out to me at the event show she was premiered at. I just really liked her outfit, super sexy to me. But her face just isn't doing it for me anymore, and the one word that comes to my mind when I look at this is generic. I don't think of Azure Lane when I see this figure, and it kills the appeal of this one for me. Everything from the neck down is excellent, but the face is too important on a figure for me to ignore it. Urza Scarlet got a surprise bare leg version. I've seen the original version go for ridiculous amounts of money, so now you can forego the aftermarket prices if you want her. While I'm definitely a stockings kind of guy for these figures, I actually think Urza looks great here. Would probably be my favorite bunny of the month if I was into Fairy Tail. I just think the face is perfect and really captures the art style of the series, and her body looks really nice as well. It's fantastic stuff. And while this last one isn't a bunny, it makes sense for me to throw this next figure here. Yuka Sarai cat ears version. Freeing should experiment more with other animal costumes like this. I don't think anyone would object, but perhaps they're worried about deviating from their core bunny audience. Either way, no idea who this is, but she looks fairly good. Art style for her face isn't specifically something I'm into, but the outfit is excellent. I love the stockings only going up to her thighs, and the fluffy bits around her ankles are pretty cute. Her top not leaving too much to the imagination is also nice, and more figures should have painted nails. The black paint looks good. Miku with Solwa, an apparel brand collaboration figure. So this month's Miku is a bit more trendy and modern compared to last month's, and I'm all for it. I didn't think I'd like the liquid hair too much, but it actually turned out to be my favorite detail on this figure. I just love the way it was colored, and it actually looks like splashes of paint. It's a really cool and different take on her hair. Her outfit also just looks trendy as hell, but I suppose if it didn't, the brand collab wouldn't be so special. I kinda wish the pink was a little less harsh, but it still looks great against her blue hair and metallic lining of the jacket. It's a very charming figure overall. Hoping this one looks great when it's released, but I'm sure it will. Okay, let's start talking about the pricey ones. There's plenty of more scales to talk about, but this is going to cap off Good Smile Company's section until the Nendoroids. First up is the Ghost Bride, which I feel like I've talked about multiple times, so I'll keep it brief. It's a work of art, tons and tons of details and colors that could take hours to fully appreciate. And thanks to these promo shots, we finally get to see her from the back. Well, I say her, but all you really get is a small frame of her hair and the veil she's wearing. The rest is all the tree, the sashes on it, and the flowers. It's beautiful, and it's gonna cost you 66,000 yen. Surprisingly, out of the 4 high-priced figures I have to talk about, this one surprises me the least, and it's also the cheapest if you can believe it. I can't really even begin to understand how long it took to make this, but, you know, perfect for me, there's actually a video going over that very process, so feel free to check that out if you're interested. This really deserves to be the centerpiece of whoever buys its collection, but that's not gonna be me. I look forward to seeing the final product whenever someone finally uploads photos. Next up is the Tanjiro Hinokami Kagura dance figure from Demon Slayer. The figure based on episode 19 of the first season, which will run you 75,000 yen. While I would argue that compared to the Ghost Bride, this doesn't have as many intricate details, the whole concept, the composition of the figure itself is just so much more interesting to me. This one feels like Good Smile just wanted to flex and make a splash in the world of figures by doing something no one would expect from them. And I think they succeeded, right? The perspective they managed to capture here blurs the line between art and figure, but it does demand that you look at it from the right angle, and I think that's the figure's biggest flaw. Absolutely stunning from one angle, but not so much from others, and due to it being in a giant box, you really are forced to display him in one specific way. But I mean, sacrifices had to be made, right? The environment actually looks so well sculpted here, and the flame effects are some of the best I've ever seen on a figure. It's a really cool figure without a doubt. And I still think they should sell Tanjiro without the giant base, but with the sword so that more people can appreciate this one. Alright, this one hurt a lot when I saw it go up for pre-order. I wasn't fully on board with getting Miles since I don't collect superhero figures, but Spider-Verse is such a brilliant movie that for the right price, I'd have no problem jumping on this. Unfortunately, this one cost 135,000 yen, so somewhere around $1,100. Genuinely caught me off guard when I read that. So he's a 1/6 scale, which isn't massive, but instead of PVC, they went with polystone, which is a much more expensive material to work with. Everything about Miles does look perfect. This is such an accurate representation of the character, and getting closer looks at the photos only proves that. Absolutely amazing shading and sculpting went into this guy, and the perspective of the base looks super cool as well. It even lights up. I do think it was a weird choice to make his hood cloth rather than plastic though. Stands out a bit once you notice it, but it's not that bad. This would have been a really cool one to add to the collection, but the wallet just doesn't go that deep. The Full Metal Alchemist figure is our last of the expensive figures. This was another one I was really impressed by at One Hobby. And I knew it would be expensive, but boy, if you were caught off guard by Miles, you really couldn't have been prepared for the $2,000 that this will set you back. Again, they went with polystone. The base is extravagant, and both Ed and Al are bursting with details, but $2,000? I'm sorry, but as cool as this one is, and I would like to make sure you know that I really do love the way this one looks, how does this cost $2,000? If it was bigger, sure, I would totally get it, but when companies like Prime 1 Studios are making truly huge scales at similar prices, I just don't understand where Good Smile's pricing is coming from. Please say psych, right? Like, this went up around April Fool's, so it could be a joke, right? Anyway, I really do wonder how many of these are actually going to sell though, because anyone with cash is going to get one hell of a figure, even if I don't think it's worth it. You know, I don't think I've said enough nice things about this scale during this little mini segment, but it really does speak for itself, right? I like when Good Smile Company flexes their talent because they really are some of the best in the business, but at these prices, I might have to find a new hobby. This is just getting a little out of hand. Alright, so let's get back into some cheaper stuff from the rest of the industry. A Ryamu scale for only 6,000 yen. What is this, 2013? I'm not very familiar with this company, but this one is worth keeping an eye on simply due to how cheap she is. It's a simple figure, sure, but if the quality is good, then this will be an absolute steal. We're also getting new Idolmaster figures from Kotobukiya. There's a gimmick to these though. If you buy both Yuriko and Anna, you can put them together and have them form a heart. It's a very cute concept, and it looks good too since they're both fitting inside of the heart shape. The figures themselves don't really stand out on their own though. They look like basic Idolmaster figures, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think if you like this idea, you're gonna have to get both to get the most out of this. So if you're a fan of Ochiko, you actually have two figures to choose from this month, either the version 2 from Kotobukiya or the Zero Gravity from Spirit Tail. Now, while I'm not the biggest Spirit Tail fan, I have to give them credit. Their prototype looks much more interesting this time around. Honestly, they do tend to go for these like more elaborate sculpts, and at least for now, it's paying off. This looks fantastic. It's really cute too. Her face looks super adorable, and I wish I liked this show a little bit more, because then maybe I would want this. But of course, it comes at a price. It's 10,000 yen more than the Kotobukiya one, so it's really up to you whether you want to take the risk and spend a lot more money, or go with something safer that's like guaranteed to be a solid figure with Kotobukiya's. I think either way you won't go wrong. It really just comes down to how much you want to spend. So this figure is definitely a big one in the community. They finally released the Radio Eva Part 2 for Rei, and I already know a ton of people pre-ordered this. It certainly looks very nice. Now for me, I just wish I liked the colors more. I'm just not a big fan of the green they used for the jacket. Everything else does look nice. I really do like her pose and her hair. And I have no problem with the like corporate logos all over it. People seem to have an issue with that. I really don't. Honestly, I think it adds to it. I think it makes it a little more interesting. But in the case for Rei, I honestly think her monochrome version looks a little bit better. And if there was a way to get that outfit with the blue hair, I think I would have already ordered this. At the moment though, I'm just a bit conflicted if I really want to order this or not, because I'm just not loving it as much as I did Asuka's. But I'm going to give myself some time and think about it. If you do want to order the older versions of the Radio Eva Reis, you can do that. They're both up for pre-order as well. And it might be a good idea to do so because they typically do rise in price after they go out of stock. Prisma Wing finally put up their Ilya. Honestly, I do think this one looks really good as well. It's a cute figure, and I think it might even be one of her best for sure. I just wish the star stand behind her didn't have that like gaudy flower pattern behind it. Just not a big fan of it. Maybe I could put something over it, but I just wish it wasn't there so I didn't have to think about it. Some people have commented on the pose being a little weird. I like it. I think it makes it more unique. I really just wish one of these Prisma Wing figures would have been out by now. I really want to know how their quality stands up to other manufacturers because we just can't tell yet. We don't know if this is a good deal or not because we just don't have any evidence of their figures yet. Hopefully they deliver. I'm really rooting for them because they are making some nice sculpts, but I just can't tell yet. Okay, so this Momoko dancer figure, I really like this one. The outfit is really appealing to me, and her eyes look super pretty. Normally, I'm not crazy about see-through plastic, but I think it works perfect here. But there's a catch to this figure, which is why I wanted to highlight it. Basically, there's two versions of this one. The one you're seeing right now, and another one where she's like partially naked. Instead of being a cast-off, they just made two different figures, which may be one of the stupidest decisions I've ever seen on this site. Or hey, maybe it's brilliant, and it's gonna make people buy both. But the impression I get is that they didn't want to bother properly molding this figure to allow for a traditional cast-off. So they just skipped that step. It's pretty disappointing, if you ask me. I don't even know where an idea like this comes from. Nanachi and Mitty working at a bakery is maybe the last thing I could think of when it comes to a figure of them. But it's cute, so I'm not hating. Mitty chomping down on some bread is pretty funny to me, and Nanachi's outfit is cute, but her fur looks a bit off color here, at least a little bit. The price isn't bad, but you gotta remember how small these characters are. This one's more interesting than it is compelling to purchase. Alter only had one figure to show off this month, Honolulu from Azure Lane. As is common with these, you can either purchase her with the battleship circling her or not, which significantly changes the price. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. Can you guess why? Maybe it's the extremely tight outfit that shows her toned stomach underneath, or the booba barely being contained at her chest. She also has extremely long legs and her butt is basically not covered at all by her outfit. But I do also love her face. The embarrassed expression and those orange eyes look really nice against her bright red twintails. And I'm a bit of a sucker for girls wearing hats. I'm not into Azure Lane, but this one has been pretty tempting. Here's some figures I know nothing about. 2 League of Legends figures for Zaya and Rakan. I could see these flying under the radar, so even if I may have nothing to really add here, I figured I'd mention them since some of you might be interested in buying them. Barbara from Genshin Impact is getting a figure from Kotobukiya. The music notes circling her look really nice, and I think they did a great job painting her. Her cheerful pose looks really cute, and compared to Takagi from earlier, her grassy base actually looks good. Much better shade of green, and the few flowers peppered throughout look great. I believe this is the last Kotobukiya figure I pulled up today, Tengen Uzui from Demon Slayer. I don't really like this one. His face just looks wrong. This seems to be a somewhat common trend for Uzui figures, unfortunately. But yeah, it needs more energy. The pose would work better if Uzui was more into what he was fighting, but this only somewhat determined look isn't really doing it for me. Mega House's Soifon went up for pre-order. Nothing has really changed since last time we saw her, but that's a good thing in my opinion, as I liked it back then, and I still do. Again, I think having her remove her robe and revealing the orange underneath makes it a wonderful contrast of color against her somewhat simple black and white color scheme. That and her hair tassels movement just really captures the flow of motion I like to see in figures. Amakuni is making a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon for 40,000 yen. Looking straight off the card, this guy looks fantastic. The shiny metallic paint really lets him stand out just like the Kaiba figure from the other month. My only issue is the giant support beam on his neck. It really is a shame that it has to be right there because it's dead center on the figure. It doesn't stop him from looking badass, but of course would look better without it. Last time we saw this Nezuko figure, I foolishly questioned why she was in this pose, so I'd like to own up to that and say thanks to those who told me that she was in the exact pose found on one of the covers of the manga. But anyway, here she is painted, and it's definitely looking better than last time. I can't recall if the background was originally part of the figure, but it really does feel like it completes the whole thing. Otherwise, it would just be a bit bare. I do wish we got some better photos of her though. The shading seems to be a bit simple on her, but without zooming in, I can't really make that call for sure. Also, today is just the feet episode, I guess. Multiple feet-focused figures on display for y'all to enjoy. The revolution is coming, and I hope you're ready for it. Joan of Arc also got painted from Aniflex. Lovely body sculpt on this one. Outfit is super sexy, and her hair looks fantastic. I just wish her face looked better, specifically her mouth. I don't know if it's just me, but from these photos, it almost looks like it's a decal, very flat, without any depth. I hope it's just my eyes playing tricks or the photos being bad because it kind of ruins the otherwise very nice figure she has. Alright, let's talk about the Nendoroids now. My favorite of the month has got to be Komi. Despite her lack of accessories, the wide-eyed faceplate really is all you need in my opinion, and it looks perfect. Having the cat ears is also greatly appreciated. I can't believe this is her only figure at the moment though. I mean, come on guys, surely this is free money just waiting to be made. Sans and Papyrus finally went up for pre-order, and I'm a bit whelmed on these, more so Sans. I just feel like something is a bit off. The proportions are so close, but not quite, so it's left in a bit of an awkward state for me. Papyrus being totally off actually works a bit better for me, and his faceplates look a lot more fun to mess around with. But in terms of accessories, both are a bit bare bones and leave me wanting more. Hey, a pun that actually worked without being too cringe, not bad. Venti from Genshin Impact. His outfit looks good, but he looks a bit dead in the face. One of the least expressive Nendoroids I've seen in quite a bit. Not really sure what happened here. I know a lot of people were looking forward to him too, but hey, if it doesn't bother you, then who am I to stop you, right? Okay, so we're getting another Jotaro Nendoroid, this time for part 6. While I do want to say we don't need this, I actually think it looks great. Sure, this outfit isn't as iconic, but for a figure, I think the colors on this one are vastly superior than the previous Nendoroid. Special mention needs to be made for this faceplate here with the disc coming out of his face. That looks awesome. I guess this isn't the place to talk about spoilers, but that is just a really cool slice from the show to represent in a figure. Good Smile is still making us pre-order from them to grab the exclusives though. The pendant is definitely not that important to the figure, but I think as far as a part 6 figure goes, it would be nice to have, so consider getting it at their store if you're interested. So here we have a really cute version of Panda from Jujutsu Kaisen. And I mean, yeah, he's a panda, alright. I do like that they actually made him noticeably bigger than the other Nendoroids though. And what is that, a baby panda accessory? That looks really cute. It's like cute on top of cute, and I'm not gonna complain about that. I almost forgot to throw this one into the video. Sukuna's Nendoroid is also up for pre-order. I'm a bit disappointed in his lack of accessories though, essentially only coming with a cow skull and a big background sheet. I mean, his faceplates do look good, but this is as bare bones as it pretty much gets for a Nendoroid, sadly. Now, one of the coolest looking Nendoroids and the priciest of the month, Preorder's Nendoroid is looking cool as shit. Both his masked and unmasked appearance look really well painted and sculpted. And I love that he just comes with a Nendoroid-sized skull and spine. That's so cool. Unfortunately, I think this will only sell to the die-hard fans due to the 9,500 yen price tag, but I can at least understand why this costs a decent bit more than usual. Kyoka from Princess Connect Redive's Nendoroid is up next. It's a really nice hair sculpt on this one. The staff accessory also looks really great too. The colors on her skirt are looking top-notch as well. Actually, I think I just like all the colors overall. She's even got a nice T-pose promo shot. It's a good Nendoroid all around in my opinion. So this girl's from Air, but the Nendoroid is based on a spin-off show called Kaginado, which is why she looks a bit different. Really simple as far as Nendoroids go, which would be fine, but I think the price could be lowered a bit to reflect that. I like her little birdie though, and the Gao faceplate, that's what it's called, does teleport me back to the early 2000s of anime. This is Okami Mio from Hololive, not a VTuber I've ever watched, but the color scheme on her character design looks fantastic on a figure. It's a rare instance where I think her default faceplate is her best one, but this other one with the sweat drop also looks great. Surprised more Nendoroids don't have faceplates with the sweat drop now that I think about it. The accessories aren't bad by any means, but for Mio, I think I like her outfit and colors more than what she actually comes with. So this next one is not a new announcement by any means, but Yumeko got a re-release, so now you no longer have to pay $200 to buy her if you're interested. I figured I'd throw this one in here since it's a pretty important re-release for many people. Hero, who is a Chinese VTuber, has fantastic faceplates and also some pretty bad accessories. I'm never going to be impressed by acrylic cutouts no matter how you present them to me. For nearly 7,000 yen, this one seems a bit too overpriced to even consider, but similar to Mio, I can at least appreciate how cute her character design is. What's the reasoning behind giving Yatora a bowl of ramen when he should be coming with more painting accessories? Not that I'm hating on ramen, but considering how the entire show is based around him becoming an artist and his developing painting skills, I think anything else that would add to that theme would have been better. This really is just a nitpick though, because otherwise I think this one looks great. While I'm still not really sure why they jumped straight to Bakura instead of Kaiba or Joey, seeing more Yu-Gi-Oh figures always makes me happy. Mostly just hoping this does well so we get more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but I guess I can't complain if I don't buy it, right? I'm a bit out of the loop, so I'm not really sure how popular he is, so I guess we'll just wait and see how this does. So I'm pretty surprised. I didn't think we'd actually be getting any of Megumi's pets with this Figma, but lo and behold, they actually included one of his divine dogs. Now, it's not articulated at all, but I think that's to be expected. That seems to be his only accessory though, and no, I'm not going to count the shadow sheet that goes underneath. That's barely anything. But points for including that crazy face he makes towards the end of the show. Easily his most iconic moment in the anime so far, in my opinion. I'm a filthy anime only, so forgive me for my basic taste. If you pre-order him at Good Smell Company, you'll get an illustration sheet of Nue. Yay. My favorite furniture in Animal Crossing is getting a Figma. I love this guy, and the Table Museum series is honestly a lot of fun. I'm glad Freeing is making these. I just wish they were a bit cheaper. It's too much to spend on a novelty, but you better believe if I ever see this guy on sale, I'm picking one up. One of the coolest Shin Megami Tensei Pro tags, Demi Fiend, finally got his Figma up for pre-order. Perhaps it's a bit expensive at 11,000 yen, but he does seem to come with a handful of fun accessories to play with. Both of his effect parts look really nice, and the menorah would be a fun accessory to have if you mix and match your Figma. This would be another one I'd pick up on a sale, but I have a feeling this will only go up in price. He's already sold out, wow, goddamn. But I had to mention that Revoltech is putting out a version 1.5 of Woody. If you've been collecting for a while, you know about the legacy the original figure had, essentially being the face of anime figure photography memes. All because of one face he makes. You know they had to include it with this one too. It's the only reason it sells as well as it does. But this revision actually does look a decent bit better. More faces to have fun with, an alien, and even Lenny as accessories. I don't remember if the original version had Lenny, but this company knows exactly what they're doing. There's also a Buzz Lightyear, which unfortunately doesn't have as much meme potential, hence why it's still in stock, but these toys do genuinely look good. And give Buzz some credit, this one shocked face is actually mad funny. And with that, we are done. That was the last of the figures I wanted to talk about. Pretty loaded month. Can't afford any of the nicest stuff, but I've got my eye on that holo for sure. Maybe the Comey Nendoroid as well. That one's great too. But let me know if any of this stuff interests you down below in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like it as it does help me out a lot. And consider subscribing if you want to catch more videos on figures like this. Until next time though, take care. See you later.